Okay, welcome back to Slip Joint Display. Today we are looking at a Great Eastern Cutlery 23, knife number 235120L. Let's get into the model. So this is a Great Eastern Cutlery 23 that came out in 2020. This is one that I picked up on a trade somewhere along the way. I don't even remember what the trade was. I think at the time I was looking for something in bone and something different than anything I had had. This knife is definitely different for several reasons. One, the size of the knife is different. It's a very large knife. The other thing, and this explains the L and the model number, is that it's got a lock on it. It's got a liner lock. So that makes an argument as to why it's even on the channel, this being slip joint display. But this knife does still slip at the joint, so I'm throwing it in. Not to mention the fact that the liner lock in this country has a pretty good history with traditional knives. A lot of people hear about the liner lock and they hear about the Walker liner lock, and there's people in the community who think that Walker invented the liner lock in 1990, and he didn't. This goes back way farther. Probably being invented in the late 19th century. In 1906, Cattaraugus patented the liner lock, and in 1923 the patent expired, and then you had the liner lock used on various models throughout the rest of the 1900s, electrician knives, that kind of thing. Walker improved on it, made it true one-hand opening, put a ball detent in there, and we have the liner lock that we know today. But the liner lock does go back farther. It's fairly rudimentary compared to what we know, but it does have the history in this country. So the 23 is a large, at least this 23 is a large trapper, single blade, drop point blade, nice cut swedge, very heavy duty knife. I've talked to gentlemen in the community who just live by these things. I think that, you know, they get used to this size and weight and everything else of traditional knife, and this is all they want after that. It's so big and so heavy, it's almost a little bit awkward. This is Northfield trim. You can barely see that etch anymore. Like I said, I got this on the secondary market. The blade was patinaed. I removed that, sharpened it, cleaned it up. It's an interesting model. It really is. It really stands out. I mean, anybody that wants a traditional knife but wants something large and heavy duty, this is definitely a candidate. The lock is enough to protect you, but it doesn't have the precision of modern day liner locks. Although, you know, it's a traditional knife. It doesn't need to. Interesting build quality there. The snap on this thing, the spring, is absolutely gator. You would not want to get caught by it. I just want to show this. There is your extra piece to make the liner lock. The bone is interesting. I've seen a bunch of pictures from this run, and I mean, of course, there were some of these that were different. A lot of the, you know, again, this is natural or antique autumn natural bone. So you got the dark, you've got the autumn color in here. You've got a lot of character on this bone. You know, they didn't smooth it out. They didn't clean it up too much. Really looks nice. I think that these sides are well matched in color, although they are not exactly even from side to side, but I mean, I guess that's just par for the course. Yeah. It's an interesting piece. Very large, very heavy snap. Let's do this. Just so that anybody considering one of these, maybe in a trade, secondary, whatever, has an idea. So you're talking maybe 3.5 cutting edge, a little bit more for the total, and maybe 8.25 total, something like that. Right? You've at least got an idea. As far as gapping goes, I don't know, maybe you could make an argument for that, but really not anything heavy that you can see from the outside. This looks pretty well done. If we put a light on it, yeah, we've got a lot going on. That's all right. It's old, it's a user, it's been beat on. Yeah. So as far as size comparisons go, just to give an idea here, here's a 71 Farm and Field. This is actually a Sud Buster, but it's still a 71. That's one that a lot of people are familiar with. And if we push it even farther, here's a Bull Buster, 21. Everybody knows a Bull Buster, it's very large, and you can see that is comparable. Although 23, 21, two different models, you can see the difference in the style of the handle. Yeah. I have seen these with a few different blade shapes, but it's usually a drop point. I think they've put these out with multiple blades before. Now, here is, here is your Northwoods equivalent. This is a Northwoods lookout jack. So, same size, drop point, bolsters are the same. You've got your handle style, the butt of the knife, it's all the same. Now with the Northwoods, there's no lock. And this Northwoods is impressive. This was another one that I picked up on the secondary market, and I traded heavy for this, real heavy. It's all right. I love this model. I really appreciate it. I just wanted to show that the 23 does have a Northwoods equivalent, and it is the lookout jack. Wanted to keep this focused on the 23, but it's always interesting because Great Eastern Cutlery will come out with a model, and Northwoods would decide that they wanted to do a Northwoods equivalent of that run, and the lookout jack was the one that came out with this. Interesting that the lock sticks out. It really doesn't get in the way of ergonomics. I mean, if you're using a knife, for me, that just sits right between my fingers, really isn't a hot spot. And the spring on this is so heavy, you wouldn't want this closing on you. I mean, even to move it out of the way here, I always want to make sure that I'm clear of the blade. Now, it kind of lines up with the bolster there, so you really shouldn't be at risk of getting caught by it, but I wouldn't want to be in the way there. Shielded bone, unexcelled, fluted bolsters. Yeah, this is an interesting piece. It's not one that I carry much. It's a little bit too large and a little bit too heavy duty. I've even thought about moving it. See that bone there? Well matched in color, interesting character on it. Not perfectly even side to side, but it is what it is. I wanted to bring it out and I wanted to show it, see what you guys thought about it. Have you had one? Are you looking for one? What's your experience with the model? That is gator snap. It really is. Which is a little bit different for the large Great Eastern Cutleries. I mean, for instance, the 97 that came out most recently didn't have that kind of action on it. It was a much weaker spring. Interesting that these are so heavy. Let me know. What's your experience? What's your thoughts? It's different. I'll give it that. I'll see you guys on the next video.